In what movie did you like the bad guy more than the good guy? Mr. Mosby. I mean seriously. You're head of a 5-star hotel and all of a sudden some twins fuck everything up. I'm 20 and can already sympathize. There's just something about Predator that keeps me interested. Emperor's New Groove. Isma and Kronk. They're entertaining to watch until today. The Rock. Nicolas Cage. Sean Connery and Ed Harris. Harris assumes control of Alcatraz prison, a now tourist destination, and uses it as a missile launch site to threaten the US government for ransom. On the surface he looks like a bad guy, so Cage and Connery have to go stop him. Later in the movie it's revealed that he only wants the reparations his dead men and their families are entitled to. He doesn't hurt any prisoners, and though he's given the opportunity, when the government declines, he admits he was never going to actually use the weapon. The movie is well written and the characters have depth enough to garner empathy for even the villain. Muppet Treasure Island. Come on. Tim Curry. I rooted for Gerard Butler's character Clyde Sheldon in Law-Abiding Citizen. Heat. De Niro, Pacino. Don't let yourself get attached to anything you are not willing to walk out on in 30 seconds flat if you feel the heat around the corner. The Monarch in Venture Brothers. Wile E. Coyote. Dude was starving in the desert and just wanted to eat. Dr. Houseman in Dirty Dancing. The man works his ass off so he can take his family on a nice, long vacation. The doc is a very lenient parent, giving his teenage daughters all kinds of leeway and freedom to do whatever they want. When Baby asks for $300, which is a large sum of money back in 1962, her dad gives her the money with barely any hesitation. Because he trusts her, Baby gives that money to one of the dancers so she can get an abortion. It's botched. And who saves the day? Oh, right. Dr. Fucking Houseman, of course. He makes one comment about that being where his money went and then gets to work saving the woman's life. And Baby's punishment for taking $300 from her father under false pretenses? She can't do her dance routine for other vacationers. That's it. She has to sit with her parents for a couple of hours. Literally the most lenient punishment imaginable under those circumstances. But of course Patrick Swayze comes in and is like, nobody puts Baby in a corner. Fuck you, Patrick Swayze's character. Baby fucking deserves to be in that corner. The Devil in Bedazzled. Mainly because he's played by Elizabeth Hurley. The Labyrinth. I mean, it's David Bowie dancing around with a bulge. Edit. Till the bulge was the hero of the story. In Despicable Me, I think the bad guy Gru was better than good guy Gru. Although I have some mixed feelings about it. Sure, good guy Gru was lovely to their adoptive girls and started to enjoy the world more and more, which I think was positive. And he was still a villain after all. But the evil Gru that didn't give a shit about others and just wanted to steal the moon was a bit funnier. Kung Fu Panda 2. I like cold, calculating villains who don't need to be ultra strong or puppet masters to prove that they're a real threat. Shen was really interesting because he was smart in his strategy. And especially when he tries to stop his fate. But everything he does only seals it. As much as I love Clarice Sterling in Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter is still the best character in the whole movie despite only have 16 minutes of screen time. Rumpelstiltskin in Once Upon a Time. Even before his redemption arc, he was just so much more entertaining for me than any of the good guys. The B-Movie. Ken was the only sane person. High School Musical. Troy and Gabriella are assholes. Anything with Christoph Waltz as the villain, but particularly Inglourious Bastards. Edited. I legit thought his name was Christopher Waltz. Hercules. The Disney animated version. I really liked Hades' character. It has to be Die Hard. Alan Rickman as Hans Gruber was the best. Then again, he was fantastic as the Sheriff of Nottingham in Robin Hood Prince of Thieves 2. Actually, I think I just probably loved Alan Rickman's bad characters. Edit. Okay. All of Alan Rickman's characters. Edit. Thanks for the gold, kind Redditor. Kronk was pretty lovable in The Emperor's New Groove. Squidward, but also Hades from Hercules. He's just so sassy and blue. In 2001, A Space Odyssey, HAL 9000 is really the only character we know anything about. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I sided with Tuco, the ugly guy. Just about everyone. I love horror, and as a kid I realized that if I rooted for the bad guy, it's less scary. Meryl Streep's character in The Devil Wears Prada. So much more interesting than Anne Hathaway's character. In Man in the High Castle TV show, the bad guys like John Smith were way more interesting than Juliana, the main character. Captain Hook. Peter Pan is a little piece of shit. Captain Hook is just doing his job. Anthony Hopkins in The Silence of the Lambs. The Joker in the 1989 Batman, played by Jack Nicholson. He was really fantastic. He was funny, liked Prince's music, was a snazzy dresser, and had a major thing for Kim Basinger. What's not to like? I think I was 12 the first time I saw it. And I legitimately cried when he died. Ultron was the only interesting character in his movie. And I say that as a guy who loved basically every other movie in the series. Everyone else was so one-dimensional and boring. And here Ultron is sighing and showing frustration and calling people on their hypocrisy, and being the only character that feels human, even though he was a robot. The Little Mermaid. Ariel is a princess who obsessively loves the monsters who actively hunt and eat her subjects. Then she falls in love with a guy whom she just met, while he was actively in the process of kidnapping sapient fish to be slaughtered and eaten. Meanwhile, Ursula is a badass. Everything she said about humans in general and Prince Eric was basically true. And those fishermen had it coming to them. I really want to see a play or movie like Wicked, but about Ursula. Michael Douglas's character in Falling Down. He was just so badass and methodical, and 90% of the things he did you kinda want to do yourself too. And like all the best bad guys, he doesn't even realize he is the bad guy. It's even more impressive because Prendergast, the good guy, is an amazing, likable character too. Loki and Thor. Megamind, but that was kinda the point. His brain just too THICC. Blade Runner. Lalo in Better Call Saul. Jaws. You want the shark to win. In the book, pretty much every character is a complete shitbag with zero likable qualities. So you want the shark to eat their asses. In the movie they made them slightly more likable and relatable. But you still want the shark to win. As I get older, I sympathize more and more with the principal and sister in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Tom and Jerry. And not necessarily just the movie but the regular cartoons. Fuck that antagonizing little mouse. He has no redeeming features. Used to watch the show every week waiting for the one time Tom would finally get him. Dr. Doofenshmirtz just needed someone to talk to. But all that platypus wanted to do was beat his ass. X-Men. Magneto was right. Wreck-It Ralph. Deep Blue Sea. The iceberg in Titanic has always felt like a relatable antagonist. Austin Powers. Breaking Bad. Hank was the only actual good guy in the show and an insufferable ass. Edit. Of the major characters. Iceman in Top Gun. He really makes a lot of good points. I rewatched it as an adult and was like, damn, Maverick really is dangerous. Spider-Man. Homecoming. Vulture is a normal guy, trying to take care of his family. Then the government. And Tony Stark especially. Fuck him over royally when he had a contract. Not only that, he does everything he can not to attack Peter. I see the whole movie as a working man versus the system story, with Spider-Man there as a nuisance. The Vulture story is way more interesting than Peter's, and just in general he is who I would rather hang out with. Snow White and the Huntsman. The first one that came to mind is not a movie but a TV show. In Jessica Jones S1, the Purple Man, played by David Tennant, is the whole reason to watch that show. Doctor Horrible in Doctor Horrible's sing-along blog. I saw Titanic in theaters as a preteen with my friends. We all walked out swooning over how handsome he was, and I said, and that gorgeous black hair. They stared at me like I was an animal. I eventually fell for Leo as an actor but maintained that Billy Zane was gorgeous in that movie. The Dark Knight. Squidward's just trying to live his life in peace and he has two man-children constantly annoying him. At some point in time, I started hating on Jerry. I just wanted Tom to kick his ass. At least once. Just a bit of social justice. I felt the same way about Roadrunner. Is that strange?